I posted a reaction video of SB19's Where You At. After that, I posted another video of another group from another country, and many of you actually sent me hate messages. Many of you actually accused me of colonial mentality, saying that I should be supporting Filipinos only, and that I shouldn't be that I shouldn't be supporting other countries from other groups, that the Philippines is already going through a lot, and why am I promoting other artists from other countries. Just want to make one thing clear here. I am a fan of SB19 not because they are Filipinos, but because they are great artists. Okay, so I think saying that I am going to support somebody just because they are Filipinos would be more of an insult than anything else, because I'm not giving credit for their actual skill. I'm just supporting them based on their birthright, right? So no, I like SB19 not because of their race or their nationality, but because of their artistry. Number 1, they write and produce their own music.
All of our songs we write and produce.
Wow. But more than that, they actually write and produce music that's substantial. So they don't just, it's easy for anybody to create a banger, great beat, great melody, and then actually say nothing in their songs. And there's a lot of artists like that. SB19 has never come out with any kind of single, any kind of song that does not contain substantial message. Now, it doesn't have to always mean it's about a social issue or something inspiring or whatever. It could be just a love song. It could be just a fun song. But it needs to have substance. It needs to say something. They don't rely on catchphrases, some words nobody means, or just words that were put together but they don't actually mean anything. They don't do that. It feels to me that whenever they do something, every word, every beat, every melody, every change in intonation, change in melody, change in whatever, actually means something to serve the song, to make it better. Second, they do all aspects of production. I don't know if there's any other group in the world that's actually doing it. They write their own songs, they choreograph their own songs, they produce, they arrange, they do the creative direction of the music videos. I really don't know any other group that can do that. It's unimaginable. It's unimaginable. I don't know how they can even make that possible. I don't know if they're doing it because they want to do it or because they don't have the resources to pay millions of dollars to big time choreographers and directors. But it doesn't matter, because whether they're doing it out of necessity or because this is a choice, they're doing a great job at it. And I think that's all that matters. Number 3, I appreciate how they don't over-sexualize and they're not vulgar. As you know, many artists would actually rely on sexualizing themselves or overly sexualizing themselves or becoming vulgar. I do anticipate that in the future they will try to become more sensual, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do appreciate that they're not using sexuality to, number 1, appear powerful, number 2, establish their artistry, because going nude is not the only way, or banging your hips or whatever isn't the only way that you will prove that you're powerful or that you can that you can command presence on stage. Number 3, they're very considerate of the value and the culture of Filipinos, because by nature we're not vulgar people. We don't associate nudity with power. People can go nude if they want, but it doesn't mean that going nude is automatically an act of power. It couldn't be just because the people want to go nude. They respect the fact that there's a lot of people watching them. It could include young people. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that their artistry isn't necessarily bowing down to common practices in the West, including nudity and sexuality and vulgarity. Number 4, they are prolific. They can write love songs. They can write about social issues. They can write about artistry. They can inspire. They can encapsulate values in their songs. You've gone from heavy rap, and even their raps are different. Like, it's not always one sort of rap. It's not the same tone all the time. It's not the same flow all the time. They always change things up. And even in their vocals, it's not always, okay, let's do high notes here, and then in the next song we're going to do a higher note, and then in the next song higher than that. It's not that. They don't employ strategies and techniques just so they can impress. They would always look at what is needed in the song, and that's what they will do. And most importantly, they do different things. So they're very, very prolific. Next, they have remained Filipino in their music. I appreciate the fact, I think I've mentioned this before, that the West has the tendency to overwhelm you with bangers of a beat or bangers of a melody, but when you listen to the song, there's really nothing in it. And and that's fine. If that's the type of songwriter they are, then that's fine. If that's what they want to do, there's nothing wrong with that as well. But if you're an artist, you shouldn't be doing just that. You should be doing other things as well. And with them, they have remained true to our practice, and that is to not just rely on beats, not just rely on the instruments, not just rely on autotunes and synthesizers. They actually remain true to what music has always been for us, because music isn't just an art form for us. It's part of our culture. It's part of religious practices. It's part of our ethnic practices. So they have remained true to that. By creating music that is substantial and not just relying on catchy beats and catchy phrases. Number 6, their songs reflect Filipino values, but is still relevant to humanity. I think when they created MAPA, when they wrote MAPA and sang MAPA, I think that was one of the things that solidified, to me at least in my head, that they can create songs that will remain true to being Filipino and still appeal to the international market. So when they came out with Where You At, which is obviously so global in sound, so global in the melody, but remains very Filipino in the messaging, I wasn't really surprised that they can actually do it, because I've heard them do that before with MAPA. Number 7, they employ unconventional techniques in their songwriting, song production, and in their vocal techniques. So the way what I think is the title. So what is the title and of that single that they had, and it was one of the few songs that actually slowed down in the chorus, because usually you would speed it up in the chorus because it's the chorus, so it's supposed to be that highlight of the song. So just like any highlight, if you're flat or you're approaching up, when you reach the highlight, then of course it's the highest level. But it's one of those songs that actually went slow when they went on their chorus, and it still worked. Very, very unconventional technique. There's very few who can pull it off, and they did. There's there's the shifting tempos and shifting beats and melodies in each section. Their current, so Watawat is one of them, but Zinga is another. You can hear that in almost section, they change the tempo, they change the melody, they even change the beat. So Bazinga is one of them. And then there's the current one that they have, which is Where You At. So it's not like, okay, we've created one set of melody and one set of beat, and then let's just create the chorus, and then that's it. So the mere fact that they're changing it in almost every section just shows how prolific and how good they are basically as songwriters. Okay, next is the Tila Luha is another, because it was just a display of their vocal power, but it did not overwhelm me. It wasn't like everyone was doing vocal acrobatics. They were able to display just how good they are as vocalists without having to do birit all the time. So I appreciate that, because one of the things that I really hate are singers that would claim they can reach the high note, but all they're actually doing is just yelling. They're just screaming. But for them, they don't do that. They're always in control of their vocals, even when they're going for the high note. Still, just one of the best vocalists ever that the Philippines has ever produced. Okay, number 8 is that they're still evolving and they're still growing, and it's such a pleasurable thing to watch that. From Go Up, when they created Go Up, I felt like, okay, that's a great beat, that's a great song. I like their choreography, I like the power in their choreography, and I felt like, okay, they're going to they can compete now in the global market. But then from there, they grew artistically as well, as I've said, creating multiple layers and multiple dimensions in their lyrics, then creating even more layers and more dimensions when it comes to their beats and their melodies. So it's rare to see an artist that actually grows and actually evolves. Usually artists would stick with the song or the sound that made them famous. 9 is the mastery of words that actually allow them create poetry in their lyrics. So mapa is one. Of course, there's the way that they play the word mapa, mama and papa. And so all of these things, there's just the way that they have. They're all, well, I know that Pablo is the primary songwriter. So the way that he has mastered our language, and he's able to put a pop spin on our traditional poetry. It's just another level. What is another one? So what from Watawat? So that's obviously a play of words, but it's not just the play of words. It's actually how he structures the songs that they have, the poetry. It's the way that he would break the words in order to fit the melody and still not make it like sound awkward. Bazinga is another. So all of those things, you could see just how he has been able to master the language. And the number 10 is raw talent. It's just raw talent at its core. It's amazing how they have been trained in the Korean way, but they have been able to remain raw, remain sincere and pure in their talent and in the way that they express their art. So one of the things that make K-pop really work is that they do have templates. So a group has to, aside from the positions that the different members would take, even their sound is sort of canned already. You know that this is the type of sound that works for this group, and they will keep on with that. So everyone has to adjust to that certain kind of sound. For SB19, they don't do that. They remain true to who they are, and so the talent that they have, the skill that they have, who they are as artists, as even though it's still evolving, even though they are still evolving, it remains raw. It did not fit the mold of what pop should be, or what Asian pop has been known in the global stage. A Filipino will refer them to me, but they could have been Indonesian or Malaysian, and I would still support them and I would still admire them because they are good. Okay? Now, I do understand why other groups or other fans would mention SB19 on other groups' videos. So if somebody creates a video about another group, there are some SB18s that would mention SB19. Quite honestly, if you ask any kind of marketer, that some artists are actually even encouraged to mention their name. The idea is that when you mention a name that's popular, then the media will listen more because that's a popular name. And I would be, because I'm in the marketing department, I would be a hypocrite if I say I don't understand why other people would do that. The thing though is that when you do that, don't start a fight with the other fandom. Try not to do that. It's just not pleasant. It's always better to just support SB19 rather than fight with another fandom. Second is that, do remember SB19 is a pretty young group. And it's just the thing that they have achieved in such a short time, and they were interrupted by COVID-19 is amazing, given that they are a young group and that there's a COVID-19 thing that came in between them and the trajectory of their career. So I have absolutely no doubt that they have a lot more to achieve, and they will get there and they will do more. But in the meantime, let's try not to demean other groups, number one. Second, start a fan war with other groups. And let's just pour all of our energy in supporting SB19. Thanks.